It's just going to be kind of a pickup live, if you will. Um, for those of you who come in, if you could let me know you can hear me and you can see me, that would be great. I should be on both Rumble as well as YouTube, but sometimes that does not happen. Um, First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining me all these last few weeks. This coming year, I believe it would be 3 years I've been on social media talking to folks. Um, One thing that came on my radar, and I apologize for my sinuses. We've had this change of weather's absolutely killing me. And as a result, I'm not sleeping well between end of year forecasting and work. Hey, C4. Hey, Dan. And not being able to sleep because my nose is all messed up. I'm a little bit wore out. And then I probably ate the worst nachos in the world today. I don't know how you could screw up carnita nachos, but this food truck screwed them up. They were at the local brewery. I was like, oh, I have the afternoon to myself. I'm going to get a beer and nachos. And I was hungry, so I ate them, but won't be going back when that food truck's there. Hey, Shorty, how are you? I put the title of this video, It Can Be Wild, or it could get wild. And what I'm seeing on the streets is really weird. And I'm gonna share a little bit of this with you. So I saw a video on Instagram. I got tagged in by another creator from Dallas. And this person got the footage from her friend. And basically, there was people on an overpass looking down, and it's a suburban area of Dallas, or not a suburban, like an urban area with the little bougie apartments and the stores on the first floor. Kind of like where you'd expect to see like the yuppies or maybe the empty nest professionals, that you can leave your little apartment and walk to the bar or walk to the cafe. Hey, Hillbilly. Hey, Mrs. Metal. Hey, C4. And this guy just walks into the street, and there's this minivan coming down. They're not driving fast at all. It looked like they were actually kind of looking for a place to park. And the people on the bridge are like yelling at them, go the other way. They're like trying to wave them back. And you could hear someone behind that camera person saying, hey, I'm on the phone with 911. They said they're going to send someone. And the dude in the street, hey, Loretta, basically runs over, and I didn't see it in his hand because he was about that big on the video, with what looked like a brick or a rock, like a landscaping rock, and just chucks it at the minivan. Now, the minivan had stopped because the guy looked like he was crossing the street. And so they stopped, and then he just stood there. And so they honked like, beep, beep, like, you got to move, dude. And he goes in his bag, takes out a freaking rock and hits the car. And then the car starts backing up, right? Because they're like, what the hell? Well, here comes another guy around the corner in a little sedan, has no clue what's going on. Hey, JRC. And then whack, he throws another rock at that car. Now there are two cars. The minivan's now going in reverse, trying to get the hell out of there. The sedan goes into the grass, trying to get away. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, GMA Merkel, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? Like what are we allowing to have happen in our society? Like, I can't compute this anymore. It's absolutely flooring me when you can't go down the street and not get assaulted by someone. Hold on a second. The chat's like all over the place. Okay. In theory, I can now see everyone. Hey, Coffee. Hey, Grandma. And it's absolutely frustrating to me. And I'm also seeing now, back in my hometown, I grew up in New York, the colleges are basically saying, well, we're not going to stop protests, which is fine. I mean, that's where protests should be. But now they're starting to take over buildings again. There are Jewish kids who are unenrolling. They're disenrolled from Columbia, Harvard, And ironically, I'm now hearing from my friends. One of my friends is a associate professor at Texas A&M. He said we're getting a lot. He said a lot of people applying to A&M, Texas Tech, OU, who are from the Northeast. And one of the things they're hearing from these kids, and their transfers from Harvard, MIT, and these other, these Ivy League schools, these high-end schools, and they're like, we're not safe. I'm afraid I'm going to get beaten up just going to class because I'm a Jewish dude. Um, and what the hell's going on? Like growing up with having met Holocaust survivors, like my school crossing guard was a B-17 gunner in the old bombers in World War II. He's a big man too. I don't know how he fit in that damn bomber because I've gone in a B-17 in a museum, and I got up the ladder and smacked the shit out of my head the minute I turned around, hit my face on the like how this guy about my size now got through that plane. I don't know. He must have been real thin at the time. JRC, that's what I'm saying. What the hell? And that worries me because you feel bad. It's like, look, we may not all disagree, but damn, a dude should be able to go to class and not be afraid that someone's going to beat the crap out of him, whether it's for his color or because of his religion, or he has a yarmulke on his head, or he has a little Israeli flag on his jacket, or I'm just going shopping with my wife and Hobo McMuffin comes over and throws, chucks a rock at me. And we've allowed this dementia to go on in this country. And Willie Nelson, who I love his music, but he wants to legalize marijuana. And I'm on the fence because on the one hand, it's like, well, it's real. I've never fought with a pothead, right? They're kind of harmless, actually. They're usually more danger to themselves. They're going to get hit by traffic. But on the flip side, it's just going to sedate a bunch of people. And nobody's even talking about fentanyl anymore. And I know that's a problem in the bigger cities. It's almost over. That's what's going on. Yeah, Watchmen, I think that's what it is. They I think they're tired. People are tired. Now you're seeing civilians lash out, right? Because the cops are like, you took away our immunity, so now we're afraid to do anything. So we'll show up when we feel like showing up. So now, for instance, you're seeing people beating the crap uh out of people who are starting shit. I'm going to share this with you because I saw this earlier, and I just thought it was funny. And I think this one is maybe in Seattle. Let me see if I can share this with y'all. Bear with me just a second. Oops. So can you guys see that? Hold on a second here. All right, let me There we go. All right, so you guys should see me in the corner and the little dude. And look at this demented behavior. Like this dude, so these people are just stopped there.
Oh! Wesh!
And he just hit
Il va lui niquer
the
sa mère.
scooter, and this dude shoves him away like, fuck off. And it goes after the poor lady on the bike, knocks her down.
Eh, nique lui sa mère, wallah.
No, this isn't France, actually. Oh, go get him. Get him. I didn't see this part. There you go. Ooh, he stopped. Okay, well, apparently he kicked his ass. I didn't realize he knocked him out. Okay. But I won't even. It's just people are getting tired. Look at this. And it's just insane that our society's gotten to a point you can't drive to the store. Hey, pilgrim. Hey, farmer. Raking on the pots. Oh, yeah, no. And on it, ranking on the pots. No, and actually, like there are a lot of veterans, and that's one of the why I'm on the fence. I know a lot of guys who were service members they were deployed for one of the GWATs, whether it was Iraq or Afghanistan, and they got hurt. And their buddies were getting addicted to prescription opioids. And so a lot of them were scared. They're like, I don't want to get addicted because then I'll become a crackhead. So they resorted to marijuana. But for the most part, it's illegal in a lot of the states. So they're trying to pass the medicinal and like certain types of marijuana. And I don't know how they're going to control it. But yeah, I'm not completely against it because on the flip side, I've seen what big pharma's opioids have done to people. And I'm like, well, if the guy's got a hurt back from a helicopter crash and he smokes a joint and he can function, that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not sure. I guess I need to educate myself more on that. But you know, we've normalized being horrendous to people. And that concerns the shit out of me. About a year ago today, I actually did a video. You can look back at it on my YouTube. I think it's on Rumble as well, where I did a video of the Holocaust Museum. I'm probably going to be in Dallas again in the next couple of months. So I'm going to go back and see if they'll let me do a live stream with one of the people in the museum, like one of the curators. But one of the things that really stuck with me when I went to that museum, there were two things. One was the collaborators, right? The Nazis showed up and there were people like, well, I don't like that guy, so I have a beef with him. And they would collaborate and throw their neighbors under the bus. But the other one was how quiet people were. Like it's not me, so I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to speak up. And it was ugly. And it wasn't just Jews. They were going after gypsies, Aromas, anyone who's like disabled, at the time they'd say mentally retarded, any kind of disability. But it all started with a group being horrendous and nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. But Merrick Garland is suing the state of Virginia because our Governor Youngkin is cleaning up the voter rolls. Oh, of course, Loretta. And that's one of the things that I don't understand. They're trying to change the demographic. I can't tell you how many minority folks who would be classified as a minority, even though right now Hispanics are probably no longer really a minority because they're so many and everyone's mixed together now. It's kind of like, what the hell are you? You check like 5 boxes. But most Latinos and Black folks that I know are not fans of the current administration. They're like, no, this is terrible. They don't represent us. They've ruined our lives. So they're trying to change the demographic by introducing a bunch of people. I believe California is also allowing non-citizens to become police officers, not green card holders, which would be a little bit different. Like you've gone through all this process, you just lack the final step, but for all intents, no, Watchmen, absolutely. There's so many things out there that are polluting us. And, they just went to court and actually sued, was it Kellogg's, for the coloring in the cereals? Because if you look at the same cereals in like the UK or in France, the cereal has like 10 ingredients. And now it has 30, most of which are chemicals. And parents went to court and the judge actually sided with the parents and said, no, these things have been shown to be dangerous. So now I don't know what Kellogg's is going to do, if they're going to change. Still going strong. Serious stupidity is sociological theory developed in the 20th century by theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And I didn't spell his name right. It's I'll need to check that out, Niels. But it's not so much, it seems like they're doing all these things at the same time right now, right? They changed the DoD policies on lethal force in kind of a contradiction to the posse comitatus, which I'm doing a separate video on later this week. That timing's interesting. Why now? Why this sudden change? Why are they suddenly saying, oh, we need to change the process to fill Congress in the event of a mass casualty event where most of Congress is incapacitated or 100 or more are incapacitated? There's already a process in place. So why do we suddenly need to find a way to expedite it, to change the process that's already there. And by anything, yeah. And I think one of the big fears I have is they're setting up dominoes, but we just don't know which way they're going to fall. I don't know if that makes sense the way I'm putting it. He wrote it in Nazi jail in 1940, trying to figure out why smart people fell to Nazism. Okay, that's interesting. And you know what? That's kind of, well, what we would call now in modern, I guess, management theory is groupthink, where you have too many people agreeing to too many things. And I guess it appeals to our more ancient tribal pack nature. And sometimes our rational brain cannot overthrow it. But yeah, a lot of the rules that are being changed already have a policy there, right? The sheriff can ask civilians, the armed citizenry, to assist the sheriff, he or she, to maintain order in the event of some social disruption. The governor can summon the National Guard, and if the National Guard is insufficient, then the governor can request federal troops. And then there's a whole process for that. So why are we changing it now? What are they expecting? I just, hey, Rebecca, and it's frightening. When I have colleagues who are coming from South American countries with a degree, a family, the support of a company and company lawyers and all the boxes checked, everything done correctly, good, productive human beings, and it takes them 5 or 6 months to get cleared to come here with a visa, with purpose. But we're letting felons free because we're not vetting them, and then they go and kill little girls in San Antonio and Houston. And then we have people on the streets throwing rocks at passing cars. It just doesn't make any sense. And if ever you wanted to maybe make sure you have a plan to get back to your home, and I emphasize this a lot because every time I see people get in a bind, my own experience, yeah, what happened in North Carolina, right? The landslides, that was epic. Like that was pretty much biblical level disaster. An explosion of a refinery. That's a massive spontaneous disaster. It's very hard to react to that. But I see time and time again people getting caught between home and work or home and the store, and they don't know what to do. And you wind up stuck. And that's a terrible place to be. Like anybody who's taken any kind of tactical training, which believe it or not, I had to in the energy sector, because they're like, well, if we do send you overseas and they try and carjack you, you need to know how to do this. So I actually did a 3-week course of this when I was much younger, and it stuck with me. It actually saved me from a head-on collision with a semi once because I lost control of my company car. And I kind of knew how to maneuver a messed up sedan into the grass so I didn't impact the truck. But it's scary. It's horrifying when you think about getting caught in a subway train. If you live in like Boston or New York or DC, get caught in a city bus, get caught on the overhead railway, or even better yet, imagine driving home in like Houston, the Beltway, right? It's an elevated highway that basically makes a circle around the city. And something happens, and now you're stuck on that thing. You can't exit. There's no shoulder. Out here in West Texas, I'll go through the grass. I don't care. You can't do that. You're 40 feet off the ground, and there's a concrete barrier anyway. You will need to leave your vehicle at some point if they can't figure it out. And people aren't ready for that. And what is this? I heard something about Michigan. I can't remember. I'll go check it out, Coffee. Most people get their news from the radicalized mainstream. Yeah. Well, let alone they are indoctrinated, and there's no critical thinking. Nobody challenges. Look, I even challenge things I hear that I agree with. I'll hear, somebody say something. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Is that legit though? And I'll challenge myself, and I'll listen to people I don't agree with to see if they make sense to me. We don't have that anymore. It was unheard of to spit at people in public. even 10 years ago. If you did that, the cops took you away. Like, you're being an asshole. Now you can spend the night in jail and explain to the judge why you're being a shit. And now they're let free. They're allowed to be that way. That should concern the hell out of people. And this is why when I tell you, make sure your vehicle's in good shape, make sure your oil change is done, your tires are decent, you've checked your brakes. I got to do a brake job on my truck, by the way. You've done your tune up, your oil change, whatever it is, you have a half decent bag in your truck. If you drive home, do you have different routes you can drive, or do you only know one way home? You'd be shocked how many people I met in Houston. They get in the car with me and we're like, oh, we're going to go here. And there's a traffic jam. And I'm like, oh, screw it. I'll go this way. And I take a bunch of back roads and they're like, how did you know that this service road would go to this intersection and bring you to our destination? I'm like, well, I explored the area. I drove around and I was like, oh, if I go this way, I can get around this traffic when it happens. People don't know. V-shaped recovery is baked in. You disagree. What do you disagree? What part do you disagree with? V-shaped recovery. Possibly. Hold on. There's alleged to have been 500,000 extra people on the voter rolls than were eligible to vote. Yes, Farmer. I did see that. I didn't realize it was Michigan. I thought it was a different place. But do you have plans for that? Do you understand how to get home? And do you have a first aid kit? What if you get hurt? What if someone you're with gets hurt? Most the times I've used my first aid kit in my truck was for someone else, not me, and not anything I was involved with. I drove up to something. 4 ways home, 30 plus years in the Bay Area. Well, right. And you should know a few ways home, and not just in your car, but on foot. Because if you have to get out, if the road gets whatever it is, it's flooded, there's a terrorist, the damn monster from A Quiet Place comes out and starts eating people, you want to be able to get out on foot and leave that location and get home. I learned all the shortcuts. See, and right. And if you ride bikes or you wander enough, like I love to explore, I go to a new location when I get transferred, and at least the first 2 months, I'm just driving everywhere. I'm going through back roads, through side streets, because not only do you learn ways home, you also learn places not to go. If you drive, you make that right at this turn and you're like, oh, this is full of drug addicts and gangs and shit. This is not where I need to be. This is not a viable path for me to get home. Now, it could be, you never know, things change, but you just know, hey, this is danger. There's another destination or another route I can take because there could be a risk here. People need to understand these things. But yeah, it seems like we've normalized misbehavior, we've normalized violence. And folks like all of us, all of you, myself, the people in my circle, that's every left you made in New York. This is true. This is true, Coffee. Yeah, to have a paper map. What you can get them free at the when you travel to a state or you travel back to your state, stop at the visitor's information, the tourist info, and they'll give you a free map or $1 map. That's a deal. Take the paper map, right? You lose comms, cell phones die, they get hacked, whatever the hell happens, the map doesn't care. And know how to read a map. Oh my God, there are adults out here who do not understand how to read a map or understand what the scales are on mileage and kilometers. They don't. And when I say adults, I'm talking people over 23. Some in their 30s who I will show them a map and they'll be like, oh, what's this? Like, it floors me. Anyway, yeah, the visitor centers, the tourist information, different locations will give you stuff. If you can't find one, say you're flying to Denver, you can just print a map of Denver. They have like visitdenver.org or something, the tourist information people online. They usually have a PDF of the area. Have a copy of the map in your checked luggage, in your vehicle, in your carry-on, So if you wind up on foot, it may not have all the details you need, but at least you'll have a general sense. Oh, this street goes north south and this one goes east west. So that's how I get home, or that's how I get from destination A to destination B. Again, I used to put up my joke of the day. Oh, we need to be using charity. Absolutely. We do need to use discernment, not just from a point of faith, but from a point of intelligence. You just need to look at things and question, is this really what I think it is? Um, no, Cha-Cha, trust me, I'm sure you'll do way better than a lot of these folks. Um, they literally they struggle, and I'm not talking like aviation maps. I'm learning that from my pilot's license, and that's a whole new world. Like there, everything's in code and shit, and I'm like, what the hell's a METAR report? Okay, so I'm learning this now, which is cool. It's interesting. Kind of kicked me out of my comfort zone. We use the car for work, so we got to keep the car good. Yeah, same. I go to remote locations. My wife has to go to and from certain locations. The vehicles need to be kept in good shape. To Daryl, I believe it was Daryl said he rides his bike a lot. That's going to be one of our purchases for this next year, is get two decent, general purpose bikes, not 10 speeds, maybe a mountain bike or a dirt bike, something like that. Something I can bring, not the little BMX thing that the guys do stunts with, but something I can go through a park with, go through dirt with, but I can go on the road as well. Um, Having alternatives to get from A to B is good. And again, you're riding your bike, you could get hit by a car. So you got to understand your routes and where you can go safely. Oh, what happened? Started to feel a lot better after sitting in a chair for 10 minutes. Oh, well, I hope you get better, farmer. That sucks. Yeah. And again, injuries are something you need to factor in, and you can't always help when those happen, right? Because nobody asked for an injury. So, yeah, mountain bike would be a great, that's what we're looking for. I was said dirt bike. That's like a motorized bike. I've seen one guy who has a electric scooter bike. Look, electric bike, I guess. It's not a scooter, and but he has lights on it and everything. Like it looks like an art car in the form of a electric bike, but he rides it to work. Like I see him when I go to the gym. He's leaving one of the buildings. I guess he does stock at night. You can't miss this dude. And but you know what? I'm thinking to myself, dude, you probably have a car parked in your garage somewhere, but you use this little bike to go to and from, and you're probably saving hundreds of dollars of gasoline every month. So knowing alternative ways to get around. Some of you got folks who have farms might have a horse, right? But or a wagon or something. But know different routes and get familiar with the areas and where they can clog up. And pay attention when you stop at a red light. And I mean, we're all guilty of it. We might start fooling with the radio, talking to who's with us in the car. Check a text that somebody sent you and you couldn't check while you were driving, so now you're stopped. Because a lot of this stuff that I'm seeing is happening at intersections. Their vehicle is stopped, and that's when they come at it. Except for the crazy guy in Dallas who literally got in front of a moving vehicle and threw a rock at it. So, folks, get familiar with your area, because I actually feel as the tension, as the everything ratchets up and gets worse, the worst in our society are going to start acting out. It's not the folks going to work. It's not the folks dropping the kids in school. It's the ones that have nothing else to do, or they're just angry people and they need an excuse. And it's going to come from all angles. It'll come from the left, the right, the middle. You're going to have weird shit happen. So pay attention and have a plan to get home or get back to your office, right? I can live in my damn office for a night if I need to, right? I know we got snacks, we got water, we got a bathroom. I'm good. I'll lock myself in if I have to. And if I'm traveling, we have remote facilities, we have offices and operations facilities all over the country. I'm like, oh, I got something happen. I'm gonna go to this base in Oklahoma City or this one in Dallas, and I have a place I have access to behind a fence that is secure, at least long enough for me to figure out what the hell to do next, right? If I get caught off guard. So when pants start, oh, that's right. Was it a third-degree burn? Good Lord. Former, that was bad. E-bike speed control goes out, then it's junk. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked into them. They're heavy as shit, and, they're getting less expensive, but for that, I'm like, "Well, I could just get a regular bike and call it good." So but folks, have a plan, and I fear it's gonna get wild as we go into the election season, and then no matter who wins, someone's gonna be pissed off. Someone's gonna lash out, someone's gonna lose their marbles, and, you don't wanna get caught on the road when that happens, right? You wanna be at least have a plan. If you are in the street and something breaks out, you have in the back of your mind, okay, I had a plan for this. If I can't get home, I'm going to this place here because, I don't know, I'm going to go to Target or whatever store. Or I'm going to go to my friend's house. Or I'm going to go back to the office because it's secure there. They have security. Um, have a plan. And you should have one anyway. You never know, when normal things happen, floods, accidents, whatever the hell goes on. But I think it's gonna get wild, and I really think with all the drama I'm seeing on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, um, there's some very unhinged people who are absolutely ready to do unhinged shit to other folks, and, they're just looking for the excuse. So don't don't be the person that they find when they're looking for mischief. Right? That's where the gray man concept comes in, or gray woman. You just don't be there, or be uninteresting or frightening. You can go that route too. If you want to look like a deranged Viking and walk around with like a battle axe, that probably would discourage people from screwing with you too. So you could go that route as well. But don't be someone that they want to go to. Be the person they don't even notice. So hold on a second here. It's got to wait until after my chaos while recovering. Ooh, yeah. No, hopefully it does. And for those of you who are suffering from injuries, folks, take care of yourselves. The most important thing we do every day is try to stay as healthy as we can. And I know nobody wants to be sick or hurt or anything, but hey, Vision. Um, but folks, take care of yourselves. Have a plan. Have have alternate routes, because like I showed you in that video, people, and they're allowing this, these fringes of society have become bold, and it's going to be at the expense of the rest of us. So you guys be careful out there, be safe out there. I'm going to cut this one short as I'm got a few things I want to try and knock out. I was supposed to do drone video of a local brewery, but we had 30-mile-an-hour gusts, and I couldn't keep the drone in a coherent way. So instead, I had beer and nachos, and I'll go back another day. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. Be careful. Um, be smart and just plan. Look at a map. Look at Apple Maps, hell, and say, okay, how many ways can I get to and from wherever I need to go every week? And having that in the back of your mind will give you a level of calm if something happens. You already have a plan. You're not like everyone else who's going to freak out and freeze. So, and again, don't be the interesting person. Either be the one they don't notice or be really scary and deranged. So, you can go either direction. You guys be good, be safe out there. Take care of yourselves and get healthy, stay healthy as much as you can. I know it's not always in the works, but do what you can and have plans to get back home. Hey, Vision. Hey, Virginia, prepare, Bushcrafter. You guys be good out there, be safe, and I will see you later on this week. You guys take care of yourselves.